Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were watching. I was just practicing, maybe even pretending momentarily. I was practicing how to be a devout Catholic. Hasn't that word been bandied about quite a bit lately? Mostly by politicians who feel it absolutely necessary to make a public declaration of how devout they are as Catholics. I'm confused by that. It has never been, until fairly recently, part of my experience. Certainly not within my circle of family and my circle of friendship, and my circle of ministry. My mom and dad were great Catholics, but I never heard my dad say ever to anybody, publicly or privately, I'm a devout Catholic. My mother was a convert. She was a good Baptist girl growing up on a farm in Arkansas, and met my dad, fell in love. They put their lives together. She became a Catholic about 11 years after that, and like many converts, she became the best Catholic in our family. And now mom and dad both are showering us with their love and with their prayer from heaven. I suspect they're very devout there, but my dad, my mom never said, I'm a devout Catholic. But we have politicians, Catholic politicians, going out of their way to do so. And I feel in my heart of hearts that what that means is that, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think somehow they're doubting their Catholicism in some ways, that they're a little defensive about it. And I suspect in their heart of hearts they know that they're really not subscribing to Catholic teaching, that I'm a devout Catholic, but, however, and then they add their objections to some very essential, key, and absolutely core teaching, like our teachings on life and when it begins and how it is to be protected. You know, a little over a month and a half ago, I wrote an open letter to my priests, my deacons, to my seminarians, and really to all of the people of the Diocese of Fresno in support of Archbishop Cordileone and his dialogue and his attempt at teaching and speaking with and in a sense disciplining a Catholic politician who shall remain nameless in the Archdiocese of San Francisco. And part of that letter, and I'll repeat it to you, I wrote this. You see, some Catholic politicians seem to be approaching the Eucharist as a virtue signaling moment. I'm a devout Catholic. You get it? Some would turn that moment into a public, hey, look at me, demonstration of their Catholic credentials and a kind of spiritual photo op. There is more than enough hypocrisy to go around these days. In my own life too. I'm not declaring myself innocent in anything, in any of this. I'm not declaring myself a devout Catholic, publicly or privately. I'm trying to live this gospel life, this Catholic life. I'll leave whether I'm devout or not to God and my confessor. But it takes some kind of immense spiritual hubris and hypocrisy to waltz up for communion while at the same time publicly ignoring and positively working against essential church teaching and practice, much less promoting something that is intrinsically evil, which brings me to a recent event here in the city of Fresno, just this past week, a press conference with a very pro-life city council member, Councilman Bredefeld. And I joined with him with a few other religious leaders in the press conference in which he and we along with him were taking exception to an initiative that was brought to the attention and brought into the council chambers by some Catholic council members to secure $1 million in public funding, taxpayer dollars, $1 million for the Planned Parenthood office here in the city of Fresno. And we took exception to that. And I remember saying at the press conference that I know that our current governor has publicly proclaimed, he hasn't called himself a devout Catholic, but I don't think, he would. He has publicly declared that the state of California will become a sanctuary state for abortion. Yeah, sanctuary state for what they would call women's health care, reproductive rights. There's nothing reproductive about it. It's all about preventing reproduction, preventing life and taking life. It is. And health care for women, very often it's far from it. So we took exception to that, but the city council voted for it anyway. God bless our mayor of the city of Fresno who vetoed that, but I believe that it was overturned or soon will be, because there's, like the folks in Sacramento, seems to be a super majority here in the city of Fresno as well, that is promoting abortion, promoting the taking of innocent life, and then after that accusing religious leaders like myself of being hypocrites. Guilty as charged. When people tell me I don't go to church anymore because of just a bunch of hypocrites, I tell them, well, there's always room for one more. I'll admit it. I don't always do what I say. I don't always practice what I preach. I know that. It's painful for me to say that. There's no way on earth I'm going to declare myself publicly a devout Catholic, but there's no way on earth I think they should either. The word hypocrite, very interesting, in fact, on that level, comes from the Greek, hypokrites, and in Greek it comes from their ancient drama, the origins of theater, what we would call today Hollywood. The actors in Greek plays and Greek dramas in ancient Greece always wore masks. If they were playing a sad character, they would wear a sad mask. A happy character, a character with a smile. If they were playing a god or a goddess, they would wear the mask of that god or goddess. Fascinating, isn't it? That being a hypocrite means wearing a mask, pretending to be something that you're not. I can stand accused of that sometimes. So, Lord knows I'm running around in my gear all the time. It's a challenge to me to live with integrity. It's a challenge to me to live with consistency. And I think it ought to be a challenge for our political representatives as well. So I would rather that $1 million would go to our Obria clinic, which really does help women with health care and with prenatal care. I would wish that $1 million could go to our JMJ maternity home for women up north in the diocese that helps women who are pregnant at risk and helps their babies and their newborns. It's wonderful. I wish that $1 million could go to our pregnancy center in downtown Fresno. I wish $1 million could go to Right to Life of Central California. I wish $1 million could go to our beautiful missionary sisters who are working in the fields. $1 million to our Catholic charities where, for example, we provide more diapers and more care to women than practically any other institution in this valley. And yet our Catholic politicians are accusing us of defending the rights of the unborn and caring nothing about children, nothing about women after a child is born. Far from it, my brothers and sisters. I love it when Jesus gets angry in the Gospels. Matthew is famous for that, St. Matthew's Gospel. Let me read part of a recent Gospel that we had. Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, you frauds! You shut the doors of the kingdom of God in men's faces, neither entering yourselves, nor admitting those who are trying to enter. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you frauds! You travel over sea and land to make a single convert. But once he is converted, you make a devil of him, twice as wicked as yourselves. It is an evil day for you, blind guides, blind fools. Jesus always got mad for the right reasons. And he always got mad at the right people. I don't always do that, certainly, but that's my prayer, not just for myself, but for all of us. And I do pray that we do become people of the gospel of life, that we promote that we support that, and that someday, God willing, we'll have some politicians who will put forward an initiative that will bring $1 million to something wonderful that really promotes life, that respects women and that honors them in every way. So God bless you and those you love in every way and always.